complex and ever-changing landscape of global news. In an exclusive interview with the BBC, former US Vice President Joe Biden launched a scathing attack on President Trump, accusing him of appeasing Russian President Vladimir Putin. Biden specifically pointed to Trump's alleged pressure on Ukraine to investigate Biden and his son Hunter as evidence of the president's willingness to put personal interests ahead of national security. These accusations come at a time of heightened tensions between the US and Russia, with both countries accusing the other of meddling in their respective elections. Biden's comments are likely to further strain relations between Washington and Moscow and could have significant implications for US-Europe relations, particularly with NATO allies who are already wary of Trump's stance towards Russia. The Israeli military launched a series of airstrikes in Gaza today, targeting what it called Hamas military infrastructure. However, Palestinian health officials say at least 33 civilians, including women and children, were killed in the strikes, which hit a crowded restaurant and a bustling market. The international community has condemned the strikes, with the UN calling for an immediate ceasefire. The strikes come after days of rocket fire from Gaza into Israel, which resulted in no casualties. The latest escalation in violence threatens to unravel the fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and raises fears of a wider conflict. In a move that could have significant geopolitical ramifications, Ukraine is considering abandoning the US dollar as its reserve currency and switching to the euro. The Ukrainian government cites the ongoing trade war between the US and China, as well as the Trump administration's unpredictable foreign policy, as reasons for seeking to reduce its reliance on the dollar. A shift to the euro would represent a major victory for the European Union, which has long sought to promote the euro as a global reserve currency. It would also be a blow to the US, which has benefited from the dollar's dominance in international trade. The move underscores the growing trend of countries seeking alternatives to the dollar amid uncertainty about the future of the global financial system. Tensions between India and Pakistan have escalated sharply following an Indian airstrike on a suspected militant camp inside Pakistan. The strike, which India says was in retaliation for a recent terrorist attack that killed 40 Indian soldiers, has been met with fury in Pakistan. Pakistan denies any involvement in the terrorist attack and vows to retaliate for the Indian strike. The two nuclear-armed neighbors have a long history of conflict, and this latest escalation raises fears of a wider war. The international community has called for both sides to exercise restraint and engage in dialogue to de-escalate the situation. Black smoke billowed from the chimney atop the Sistine Chapel today, signaling that the first vote in the conclave to elect a new pope has been inconclusive. Cardinals from around the world have gathered in Rome to choose a successor to Pope Benedict XVI, who resigned last month. The conclave is a tightly guarded secret, and no information about the voting process or the candidates is released to the public. The cardinals will continue to vote in secret until a two-thirds majority is reached. The election of a new pope is a momentous event for the Catholic Church, and the outcome of this conclave will have far-reaching implications for the world's 1.2 billion Catholics. A federal judge in Washington has issued a temporary restraining order blocking the Trump administration from deporting migrants to Libya. The judge ruled that sending migrants back to Libya, where they face a high risk of torture and abuse, would violate US and international law. The ruling is a major setback for the Trump administration's efforts to crack down on illegal immigration. The administration has argued that Libya is a safe country for migrants and that deportations are necessary to deter others from making the dangerous journey across the Mediterranean Sea. However, human rights groups have documented widespread abuses against migrants in Libya, including arbitrary detention, torture, and forced labor. President Trump met with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's top aide Gerald Butts at the White House today for a working lunch. According to a senior administration official, the two discussed a wide range of issues, including trade, the ongoing crisis in Venezuela, and the detention of 2 Canadians in China. The meeting comes at a time of strained relations between the US and Canada following Trump's imposition of tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum. However, both sides have expressed a desire to improve relations and resolve their differences. The meeting between Trump and Carney is seen as a positive step in that direction. That's all for today.